Hello, my name is Haarrin Rao. Our group has decided to expand an international business in Singapore. The Singapore government is driven by a prime serf and cabinet shaped by the party that control the governing body. The current Prime Minister, which is Lee Hsien Loong, has been in control since 2004. Singapore, being a majority rule nation, has chosen agents to run the show in the country. It has since freedom delighted in relative political soundness, which has changed into superior trade openings for the country. So, what are the challenges, opportunities and also risks in Singapore? Singapore government raised its official development figure for 2021. The Singapore economy is presently anticipated to develop between 6% and 7% this year. During COVID-19, Singapore has one of the quickest immunization rollout universally. Finally, the product that we choose to expand in Singapore is called as Kembara meal. Kembara meal or Kembara feast is the idealized arrangement which is self-heating, versatile and also cost-effective suppers for humans. Kembara are created utilizing lightweight materials so you can easily have supper anytime, any place at the conclusion of a tiring day. Kembara suppers are cooked in multi-layered tubs that permit for sterilization on a tall temperature. Each Kembara feast packs contain a delightful and a wholesome of 200 gram cooked rice and also dish.
On August 9, 1965, Singapore became a country, and for the past 5 decades, so Singapore politics have been controlled by the People Action Party (PAP) and its charismatic leader Lee Kuan Yew. So Mr. Lee, a Singapore's first and most prominent Prime Minister, was a Cambridge graduate who developed the Singapore model, which transferred to quite a British colony into the prosperous, brimming metropolis it is today. Singapore's approach is highly centralized and meritocratic, with the government official chosen to position based on the attitude and performance rather than elected. So as a result, the government is more efficient and rational in its operations. So Singapore politics system is based on the Westminster model, which the country inherited from the British. It is based on the constitutions that provide every adult in Singapore with the right to vote, as well as a Prime Minister, a Parliament, an independent judiciary and multi-party elections. So the law of the land are made by the legislatures. The executive is in charge of enforcing the law, and the Prime Minister is the head of the government, and the President is the head of the state, and the judiciary interprets the law through the courts. Stability of government is the political system of a certain society maintain dynamic order and continuity. The Political Stability Index is intended to assess the list of the government being weakness or overthrown through the unlawful or violent measures, such as politically motivated violence and terrorism. Government have a significant impact on the flow of foreign direct investment, FDI, and hence the amount of globalization through trade and investment policy, legal system, and other administrative and political actions. The political trick in Singapore is low. According to the Political and Economy Risk Consultancy, Singapore has the lower political risk in Asia, PERC. So Singapore is administered by elected representatives as it is a democratic country. Since independence, it has significant political stability, which has resulted in increased business opportunity for the country. Singapore is known as the most least corrupt country around the world. Singapore was ranked third least corrupt country in the world out of 180 countries in the Transparency International TI.
Singapore has 5.9 million residents. Singapore's population is growing at 0.78% per year from 2020 to 2021. Singapore has the third highest life expectancy in the world at 83.9 years. The birth rate in 2021 will be 8.5 per 1,000 people, down to 0.96% from 2020. In 2021, Singapore's age structure will be 639,000 over 65 years, 2.5 million aged 20 to 64 years, and 782,100 are under 20 years. Since 1950s, the country's population has grown to 100% urban. Singapore exported the most oxygen amino compounds, which worth $4.1 billion. However, only 5% of the items are consumed in Singapore, with the rest being shipped globally. Singapore has the world's most diverse trading partners. Singapore's trading partners include China, with $51.5 billion, followed by Singapore, US, Malaysia, Indonesia, Taiwan, Japan, South Korea, Thailand, and Vietnam. Inflation in Singapore in 2020 was negative 0.18%, down 0.75% from 2019. In 2020, Singapore had deflation, meaning prices fell rather than rose. The deflation rate may be due to the Singapore's economic difficulty during the COVID-19 outbreak. Between 2016 and 2020, 98.4% of students moved from elementary to secondary school. Singaporean students are 20 months ahead in math and 10 months ahead in English. In 2020, 97.9% of adults were literate. By 2020, Singaporeans aged 25 and above will have complete 11.3 years of schooling. Around 20% of Singapore's national budget goes to education. Annually, Singapore spends 12.04 billion Singapore dollar on education. Singapore's skilled workforce account for roughly 54.3% of total workforce. Unskilled workers still make up roughly 80% of the workforce, and nearly half are semi-skilled or less. The average hourly wage in Singapore is 23.36 Singapore dollar based on the average weekly income. Singapore, along with Indonesia, Malaysia, and Philippines, and Thailand, was a founding member of ASEAN on August 8, 1967. ASEAN goals of establishing a powerful, wealthy, and rule-based organization is fully supported by Singapore. Singapore's legal system is based on English common law. The law regards all Singaporeans as equal, regardless of race, religion, or belief. Singapore's innovation-driven economy depends on intellectual property rights. Singapore's IP policy is widely regarded as world-class. Since 2014, Singapore has ranked among the top 5 countries for intellectual property protection. Due to Singapore's strong and efficient judicial system, enforcing a contract takes an average of 150 days compared to 510 days globally. Enforcing the claim costs only 25% of the total. This figure makes Singapore one of the best places in the world to enforce a contract.
So let's get started with market opportunity analysis. So our product name Kembara is going to launch in Singapore. Ta-da! The Kembaras mean adventure in Bahasa Melayu. And the idea for Kembara is especially for outdoor lover and workaholic who don't have time to cook. And there's many flavors in Kembara meal like beef peppery, chicken tom yum, and kampung fried rice. Since COVID-19 pandemic is still going on, Singapore introduced circuit breaker to prevent the outbreak. So most of them just stay at home and work at home as well. Even hawker center just around with them, but they still don't want to go out to take away because they want to keep themselves safe, and for workaholic they don't have time because time is gold. So instant meal is really convenient for them and easy for them too, because all you need is just a water and just pour inside into the product and just wait 10 minutes and it's done. There's many types of self-heating meal in the market. So the hot sell for Kembara will be chicken tom yum because the food is easily found in hawker center and around with the customer. Famous hot pot called Hai Di Lao have their own brand instant hot pot as well. So this will be a competitive to Kembara. But it's not an obstacle for the Kembara because Kembara have more flavor compared to the Hai Di Lao hot pot meal. How to promote it? The ultimate way to promote Kembara in this situation is through online platform because it's more easy and it's more safe. So we will use Shopee, Lazada, and MediaCorp to promote our product through the television channel. Our product Kembara will be easy entering into Singapore market because Singapore considered one of the smartest city around the world according to Smart City Index. The usage of technology is high. Because the usage of internet is 88.5% of Singapore population, hence major advertising media is online newspaper and television channel. There are about 2,565.7 thousand of Singaporeans in the age of 20 to 64 years old, plus with about 1 million of Malaysian workers who work in Singapore. Hence, this could boost the Kembara sales in Singapore. Kembara will draw attention from the local citizen because of our Malaysian unique food. The target market for Kembara will be among of the family and the young adult like us. They can get Kembara from the e-commerce like Shopee and Lazada and at the supermarket as well.
Singapore society is categorized into 4 ethnic groups according to the CMIO rubrics, which is Chinese, Malay, Indians, and others. The ethnic group like the Eurasian, who are of mixes of Europeans and Asian ancestry, are classified as other. Singapore is one of few city-states in Southeast Asia. It is located on the Malay Peninsula, southernmost states, and boasts a vibrant athlete culture. They enjoy football, rugby, cricket, badminton, swimming, basketball, table tennis, and cycling. Because Singapore is an island country and has been a well-known port destination since the earliest days of sailing, water activities such as water ski and kayaking are particularly popular. So Singapore title as a good city refers to more than just its cleanliness or quality of living. In fact, in order to defend the state's safety and order, the government implemented a number of restrictions such as chewing gum, spitting, literally jaywalking, dancing on bar counters or table, smoking indoors, drinking and driving, public intoxications and doing drugs are all the things that should be avoided in Singapore to avoid paying a hefty fine or spending time in jail. After meeting and greeting people in Singapore, the norm is to shake hands with everyone in the room and then shake hands again when leaving the meeting. When shaking hands, Singaporeans may bow gently. Given that many Westerners are taller than Singaporeans, a little bow will be appreciated. The most common form of clothing is Western. However, casual is also acceptable. Men should dress professionally with white shirts, ties, and pants, while women should wear blouses with sleeves and skirts or pantsuits. Singaporeans rely heavily on indirect communications. They use posture, attitude, and voice tone to extract messages rather than words. A non-verbal communication such as pointing with the index finger is considered impolite in Singapore.
There's many ways to enter Singapore market like exporting, licensing, franchising, joint venture, and totally owned subsidiary. Joint venture system is the most suitable market entry mode for Kembara. They may have reduced risk and cost by combining 2 or more companies with good reputation. Local business will find a better grasp of self-heating meal competition in Singapore and build strategy that aligns with Singapore market structure. There's 2 case studies for market entry. The first one, BRF GmbH formed a joint venture with SATS Singapore Food Service to process and manufacture branded food products. In 2019, BRF sold their ownership in the SATS in Singapore. It's renamed Country Food and become a completely owned subsidiary of SATS Food Service. Lincoln's company formed a joint venture with Singapore Telecommunication Singtel on September 1999. However, the company present functioning status is dissolved.
So now let's move toward the summary part. So what are the most interesting or fun fact about Singapore? Singapore is one of the nations that will never desist to keep astonishing its guests around the whole world. Singapore is one of the 20 latest nations within the whole world. Singapore is the slightest degenerate city in Asia and it is the 5th slightest degenerate within the world. At long last, The least temperature has been recorded in Singapore ever was 19.4 degrees Celsius, which is on 31 January 1934. Finally, what are the key challenges of doing businesses in Singapore? Key challenges of doing trade in Singapore is the serious competition from other nourishment and refreshment dinners. The competition in this field is so gigantic. Other than that, we are required a group for each commerce. We will not be able to do much if we have an awesome technique and no group to execute that methodology. That's it from me. Thank you.